everyone.
I belong to you.
I belong to you.
Do just what you want. You're the one I trust.
Puts it into an area. Keo, Zamora!
And I'll always be around when I need some love and baby. No one else.
Yeah. Put you down. All my melodies,
Hey guys, I'm Sai, and welcome to Ace Podcast Nation, the home of the Andy Campbell Championship Show. This is episode number 129. The show's available live on Facebook, YouTube and Twitter. Ace Podcast Nation, of course, you're home to many great shows and series featuring top guests, expert analysts and more. And we have literally produced and released 5 shows in the last 5 days by the time Monday comes around on all sorts of subjects. So please do give us a follow on social media, and of course subscribe to that YouTube channel, click the bell for notifications, and keep up to date on everything. Plus, if you prefer your podcasts in audio platforms, we have you covered. You can get, if you just search Ace Podcast Nation, you'll find all our shows and series, over 400 of them, on all sorts of subjects. Just, as I say, search Ace Podcast Nation on your favourite podcast platform, no matter what operating system you use, you will be able to find us. And just as we wait for those three live platforms to fill up a little bit, we'll a big thank you to Black Diamond Sports as ever for all their support around the show. Black Diamond Sports is a global sports agency which represents sports stars from all around the world. And for more information, you can visit their social media pages and, of course, their website, links to which are in the description below and in the closing credits at the end of the show. And today's sponsor, as ever, Bespoke Financial and Mr. Darren Ralston. And Darren is giving away a free will worth £140 with any new policy which is taken out. So please do check him out, give him a call, don't miss out on what is an incredible offer. He's looked after my co-host Andy with various policies over the years, including the critical illness and the injury cover. But they are truly top of their field and they provide award-winning service. We are very proud to partner with such a top-class brand. And we thank them for sponsoring the show as ever. And joining me, as per usual, it is the co-host with the most. The man who juggles fatherhood and podcast presenting literally simultaneously. He is a god amongst men, the fox in the box, and of course Davy Jones' favourite son, ex-Cardiff City and Middlesbrough striker, the speed demon, the goal machine, Mr. Andy Campbell. Welcome, my friend. How are you?
Good evening. Yeah, been a busy day today. I've been up mountains. I've done all sorts today. I've been a very busy man. But I've just seen there, Cade. Happy birthday. Yeah.
Yeah. Happy birthday to Reese as well.
To Reese. Yeah.
It's his
happy
birthday tomorrow.
Tell you what,
we forgot to say
great weekend. Yeah, loads of shows, loads of things coming up. So hope you all have a lovely weekend, the birthday people, and celebrate it in the best possible way you can. I know it's obviously not great, not the best possible situation, but I'm sure you'll have a blast with family and a few close people if you can possibly do it.
Spot on, mate. So we've got so much to talk about with the championship today. So I want to go into straight away a couple of little stories I wanted to touch on from the championship. Charlie Austin, QPR striker, has been given a 3-game ban for violent conduct. That's going to be a big blow for them because he's a big part of what's been good about QPR recently. It's to do with an incident. He was violent conduct towards Ryan Yates in the defeat to Nottingham Forest on Monday. He's denied it. The incident was caught on camera but not picked up by the referees. It's a blow for them, mate, isn't it?
Yeah, huge. You can't afford to miss a player of Charlie's quality. But what I don't get is players' persona of that they're going to get away with this now. You know, there are no cameras are everywhere. There no, you know what I mean. And it's always worse side. If the referee sees it, you might get a yellow at best. Sometimes, you know what I mean, because of people don't react sometimes to certain things. But when the referee doesn't see it and you get repercussions after, they seem to be a hell of a lot worse than the punishments which would have been dished out on match days and. 3 games, but we've only got 6 games left for certain clubs. So what QPR have got? Well, they've got 7 left. So he nearly misses half the season left. So it's very disappointing for him personally. Disappointing for QPR, but I'm sure it'll be a big miss. But he'll have to come back at the last 4 games and really show the fans that he owes them something special and the players as well, because he's let everybody down there, I think.
Yeah, 100%, mate. Another story which caught my eye was a Championship fan has taken it upon herself to restore the grave of the first ever professional footballer. She was inspired by, her name's Jacqueline McLeese, I think is how you pronounce it. And basically she saw a Netflix series called The English Game. It's about a footballer called Fergus Sutter. He was the first professional footballer who earning a working wage. And she literally she's restored his grave, and like when you see the before and after of the gravestone, it's incredible.
Yeah, I can imagine. Well, that also side then it links with obviously with the news today, which has obviously been a proud Englishman that I am. Obviously we lost somebody quite special to the country, and for me it's heartbreaking, isn't it? Because it's somebody's granddad, somebody's husband, somebody's dad. You know, so it affects people probably mentally in a way that. What's gone on in the world this year, that people who've lost people, it just brings bad memories back, doesn't it? But you know, I mean, the heartache, what people are going through today, will be really special. So love to everybody who's involved and who loves the royal family as well.
Yeah, I know there's at the end of the day, regardless of people's personal opinions of the royal family, and I include myself in that. Like at the end of the day, it's a human being. It's someone's grandfather. It's a 99-year-old man who's had a phenomenal life. Full of interest, and he's done a lot of good in that time. And you know, he's got family, he's got loved ones who are suffering, and of course, there's a lot of people who are very, very passionate about the royal family, and you know that will affect them as well. So obviously, condolences to everyone who's affected by it. And of course, Reece points out DMX. I'm not sure if he's officially been announced that he's passed away, but. He also was in some serious state. I think he was brain dead. This is where it is. It's unfortunate. It's one of those things, mate. This the hits keep coming, as it were, and the people just seem to be passing away. And
yeah, but it seems to be constant size. It's bad news after bad news. You know, obviously someone who we all know from TV. Chris Kamara, I read yesterday that he's going for checks on his brain for dementia as well, which I truly hope. So if you are watching, Chris, and you do get wind of this, I hope everything does work out, because a top fella, cracking humour on a football show, and nobody deserves to be ill and affect other families as well. So I hope the news is positive and everything works out for everybody.
100%. Don asks if you're playing for the over 40s tomorrow.
To be honest, the walk today was more to get my legs going from the 2 games I played this week for the over 40s, which haven't gone down well. My body's shot to pieces, but I will be playing tomorrow. I'm not sure. More in mind than body, Donna. So yeah, hopefully the body works better than it did on Wednesday night.
Spot on, mate. So they were the couple of Championship stories which I wanted to touch on, and then obviously Swansea City have announced that they're having a week-long social media boycott, and this follows on from a story which we talked about last week with Thierry Henry. He had said that he wasn't going to use social media platforms until the people who owned the social media platforms addressed abuse, racism, trolling, homophobia, whatever you want, it's everything basically. And that has been quite, as we said at the time, I think we both said, if some big clubs or players, celebrities, if they get on board with this, it's going to make the social media platforms have to take action. And, straight away, Swansea, Birmingham, I think, was one, Rangers. There's been a few who've already, joined it. I'd like to see Cardiff, from a personal point of view, join it sooner rather than later. But, there's a few clubs already, mate. I'd expect most of them to be joined up by the end of the weekend, I think.
Yeah, listen, I hope people listen. I hope this makes people think twice about putting those kind of comments on, negative comments, because how hurtful it can be. Because now look at Swansea fans, look at Rangers fans, look at Birmingham fans, look at the fans now who won't get an opportunity with the way that football's going at the minute. Sometimes this was only the only way that people can keep in touch with their team. So without players going on social media, without the club going on social media, hopefully it gets the point out, and the main point of stop it now, because it was getting out of hand, and then it calmed down, then it got out of hand worse, and then it seemed to rear its ugly head again, with some high profile players, and fair play at the club side, because they didn't have to do it. You know what I mean? It could have an impact on them. Obviously the players have decided it, the clubs have decided it, and I'll stick by them. I think it's a good idea.
My question would be, why haven't the FA, the PFA, the Premier League, why haven't they not made a blanket
decision for everybody? Yeah, I totally agree. Listen,
or said, or at least contacted all the clubs and said, we're going to do it. We'd like all clubs to follow, but it's not compulsory.
Well, the Premier League obviously went down the stance of various things, didn't they? You know what I mean? Different coloured laces. They went down taking a knee. So the Premier League could have decided that every team this weekend doesn't do social media. You know what I mean? Players are off it for the weekend, from Friday before the game till Monday morning, for example. Just to, you know what I mean? That would have a big impact. Supporters would understand that they need social media, how important it is for the clubs, for the fans, for everybody involved in football. But it's the only way for people to learn. And you know, I mean, the likes of Man United and Man City, Liverpool. You know, I mean, millions and millions and millions of followers all over the world. You know what I mean? That point would get put across very quickly and very strong. And that's what it needs
especially
to be.
Especially on match day, mate.
Yeah, the point needs to be.
Follow it.
The point needs to be strong, especially if the game's not live. You know what I mean? Like we're all quite lucky at the minute that the games are streamed and stuff. But if the games in certain countries aren't streamed and they're not live, and you haven't got the platform to watch it, and you're not fortunate to have it, and you don't have social media to catch up, how do you ever know? You know what I mean? It's not like you can put teletext on nowadays to check how your team's getting on. You know, it's going to be a difficult one.
Yeah, people rely on social media a lot. So on yesterday's Kev show, Leslie asked if I'd watched Jude Bellingham's goal from the Dortmund game, the disallowed goal, and give an opinion on it, because I hadn't seen it. I don't know if you've seen it.
I watched the game, yeah.
So what did you make of it, mate?
Listen, the referee give a foul. You can't do those kind of things in European football. We're on about Premier League. The Premier League is a different animal to European football. Regardless of what people think about that goal, the referee's given. A referee was very close to that decision, by the way, as well. You know what I mean? Jude Bellingham's studs were up. You know what I mean? Regardless if we think it's a foul or it's not a foul, the referee's in a good position. He's given the free kick. You know what I mean? There wasn't massive complaints from anybody. You know what I mean? Apart from probably Jude himself, who was a little bit disbelieved, but he understands it. He's playing in a country now where you can't do those kind of tackles. You know what I mean? And there was loads of incidences in the game where I thought there was probably fouls that you wouldn't get in the Premier League.
In that, I think it was in the Dortmund game where Haaland scores a goal, like a really good individual goal. I don't know if it was this week, by the way, or it might be last week.
No, I don't think it was this week.
Haaland breaks through. Is he in a European game? Breaks through Champions League. He breaks through, goes on like a wavy run, scores. They all celebrate. They go back to the halfway line. The referee's checking for a foul that happened in the build-up, which was about 30 seconds before the goal. So basically, that goal gets disallowed, but he then takes it back a further. It works out about 70 seconds from when the goal went in, about a minute and a half, I think it was about. So not 70, 90 seconds, and gives a penalty to Dortmund. So even though they'd scored, then Dortmund take the penalty. The keeper saves it. The other team go up the other end on the break straight away have an opportunity. The game stops. He takes it back to have the penalty retaken because the keeper came off his line, and they just about score the second penalty. But I tell you what, mate, that is literally everything which is wrong with VAR, because how far back can you go?
But also, I'd like these decisions to be made. The people who are watching it upstairs, I'd like them to have 60 seconds to watch it, because they could have 5 or 6 TVs to watch it, so they could have different angles going at the same time. All you've got to do is move your head and watch the game. Then, if the referee needs to look, he gets a minute as well. So the game's not stopped for. There's a time limit on these decisions. Because I watched a game. It was last week, and the referee must have stood and watched this one moment over and over and over and over again, and it just become a laughing stock. And I didn't understand what he was laughing at. It was the Chelsea game when he gave a penalty, and in the end he didn't give it because it wasn't a penalty. It was just he kicked the ball before he kicked the player.
Yeah.
And he must have watched it about 12 or 13 times. But you know what I mean. You watch the video, you can see it. You know what I mean. But other people can help these people out, and sometimes I think you live and die by these decisions. That let them happen. It gives us something to talk about. Or if they don't happen, then these decisions should be made very, very easily.
Yeah. Going back to the Jude Bellingham one, I thought it should have been a goal. I thought, I didn't think there was much in it. I thought he nicked the ball. I just think it's a shambles, mate. I honestly, at the end of this season, before the Euros, I hope they get rid of VAR completely and just keep goal line technology, because it's just rubbish.
I don't even think we need. I don't even think we need that.
Football, mate.
I look at linesmen or assistant referees out now they're called. What's their job now? Because offsides, they don't even put the flags up. Well, the ins and outs, the throw-ins only. You know what I mean? For me, you know what I mean. Give them the responsibility. So offsides their job. If a ball's crossed the line, yes or no, it's their job. You know what I mean? For me, they had a lot of responsibility. Now the responsibility has been taken away from them, and even the referee. You know what I mean? So who's in charge of anything now? Nobody.
Yeah, shambles.
And where's the official gone from the side of the goal? All of a sudden,
just him now, do they?
Well,
don't need him at all.
Well, they do. Just get rid of those things and keep him in play, and then he's in charge of the box, or she's in charge of the box, whichever they decide.
Yeah, mate.
I'm diverse. I'm happy.
Like Donna just said there, she hopes there's no VAR in the Euros. I can see VAR just ruining the Euros, because they won't get it right, and they'll try to change it again between the end of the season and the VAR and the Euros, because they'll try and perfect it, and then it'll become more confusing for the officials, and it'll just be an even bigger shambles. It's just.
But how'd you get everybody singing off the same sheet from now to the summer? You know what I mean? On officials, because let's be honest, you're going to have teams of people doing VAR, so it's going to have to be an English team doing a game without England in it, a German team, a Portuguese team. It's got to be equal, it's got to be fair. A Welsh team doing it, and have we got enough people to teach these people how to do it so it's equal and fair? Because at the minute, for me, it's all over the place. Everyone's opinions are so differentiated. It can't happen like that. Everyone's got to be singing off the same hymn sheet for it to work.
Yeah. It's a shambles, mate. As I said, and we've said it how many times this season, that it's an absolute shambles. On the Jude Bellingham goal, obviously Leslie was the one who asked of us to watch it and talk about it. He said, "I'm not arguing, but I don't agree with Andy saying only Bellingham moaned it should have been a goal. I asked these people, all said a goal, and he says Jeff Winter, Jim Platt, loads of others, including Shearer and stuff like that. So basically, like, Leslie seems to think that it should have been a goal. I do think it should have been a goal, but I do also understand why it was disallowed. It's one of them weird ones, isn't it?
You're talking to Alan Shearer, who's a player who used to be a smasher goalkeeper. You're talking to Jim Platt, used to be smashed. You're talking to Jeff Winter 25 years ago when he was a referee. That used to happen. You're on about a 2021. Those things don't happen anymore in football. They've been taken away. You can't tackle from behind. You can't pull shirts. You can't raise your studs up. You can't put your foot over the ball. There's loads of things that you can't do anymore, and that's one of them.
Yeah, funny enough, the penalty which I mentioned about the Dortmund game was from a shirt pull. Now, even probably 18 months ago, you wouldn't have got a penalty for that.
Exactly.
But because of VAR, he pulls him back, but the cross doesn't even go anyway. The cross went straight to the keeper, so it wasn't ever going to get to him. He didn't need to pull it. It was a stupid shirt pull, but
yeah, no, and these are the things. These are the things, that that they try to stamp out different things from football and try to add these things in. When they add them in, it stops good moments. But unfortunately, you know what I mean. If you stick by the rules, if that was Man City scoring the goals, I'd still be saying the same thing. Because let's be honest, by the way, this conversation, I'm sure, was it last Friday or was it the Friday before that I got questioned about John Stones? I got questioned about Haaland. John Stones was absolutely magnificent, by the way. Probably the best defender on the pitch by a country mile. Man City won 2-1, by the way. Haaland didn't score.
Yeah, I didn't watch it, so I can't
Point proved.
comment.
Point proved.
Rob Boyle also says, but he's taken the ball, or am I missing something? So it does seem like I get why they. It's like you said. These days, you just can't get away with having your feet there.
Yeah,
especially
I know.
Against the keeper, and that's what it comes down to. It shouldn't.
Yeah.
It should be a goal.
I agree. Oh, listen, you're on about tackles as well, Si. You know, I mean, there's tackles now in the Premier League where you win the ball and then you catch the play with your trailing leg. It's a free kick. Well, your momentum takes you through, but there's things now which are trying to stamp out of football, and in foreign football you haven't been able to tackle for years. So now they're bringing it into European competitions. You start now to see it in the Premier League. Tackling is been taken out of football. You listen to Rio Ferdinand. Rio Ferdinand didn't get many yellow cards because he didn't go to ground, because he knew that you couldn't foul, you couldn't tackle, because it's a free kick, and you know what I mean. And that's just part of the game.
Gavin says, "Did you see what happened with Jack Brannan? Isn't Jack Brannan off an EastEnders character?"
Jack Brannan's on his
Wrong show, Gav.
unless he played for Man. Did he play for Man City? Did he?
I don't know, mate.
I must have missed it.
So tell me why. We got two tell me whys. I'm only joking, by the way, but I am. We are going to bring the TV and films podcast back at some point, but just you know, I've only got so much time. Okay, 60 seconds to talk about the subject. I got one championship stroke EFL, and one Premier League related one. Which one would you like first?
Championship, I think.
Championship.
Yeah.
Okay, so your 60 seconds will start in just a minute. But the subject matter is the PFA wants to scrap squad limits. Talk to me. 60 seconds starts now.
I honestly think, I honestly think it's pointless as well, because squad limits are going to be dictated to by finance, and finance is being dictated to by COVID. So for me, this is probably an opportunity to keep squad sizes at a limit, so that it stops teams getting in financial trouble buying big squads, looking for more players. Because for me, you don't need a big squad to be successful. You know what I mean? The Premier Leagues have been limited at 25 players for the Premier League squad, and they don't struggle to get players out. You know what I mean? You can have young players to come through to help those kind of numbers. For me, have a limit of players, and the only players who can come through after that are players from the academy, to give them an opportunity to platform themselves into first team football. Because, you know what I mean, for me, there's things that I'd scrap before that. I'd scrap under 23 football and put reserve team football in, and give players a real platform to start playing professional football again from a young age.
Spot on. 10 seconds left, but we'll give you that. We'll give you that.
Felt like a lifetime, that.
That was a tricky one, that one.
I don't agree with that.
The one thing I'd say with it is, in my opinion, the only limits or like rulings around squads should be that you have to have, I think, 5% of it so say your squad's 25, you've got 5 academy players in the first team squad at all times. So if one of them is not performing or gets injured, you have to bring in another academy player. Do you see what I mean? So there's always.
Well, when I played in Scotland,
5.
When I played in Scotland, they used to have 5 in the matchday squad, and 2 of those used to have to play in the starting 11. So Celtic, for example, had Sean Maloney. You know what I mean? It was an Aidan McGeady. So those 2 were the homegrown players. I know one's from Scotland and one's from Ireland, but Aidan grew up and came through the youth team. So he was classed as a homegrown player at the time. And those kind of players, it made them better. It made them stronger. It made those players have a good career. You know what I mean? Whereas other teams had a lot more players coming through, so it put them in the shop window, so it generated money for clubs. I just think there's certain things what other countries have done in the past which would probably benefit English football, because we've been successful in England, by the way, and Wales have been successful at a young age, and Scotland is getting international recognition again. The only way to get these international players through is by playing them at a young age and playing in first team football. So how are they going to get the opportunities again if they're not playing? They need to be playing somewhere.
Yep, 100%, mate. 100%. Little reminder as well, by the way, if you want to win the competition, which we've done for Super Kev and Unscripted last night, which is running till next week, you can send in pictures, photographs of yourself, and the winner will be the worst dressed. So if you've got a picture of yourself dressed in something horrific, then send it over. We've had a couple of interesting entries already, including someone in a red velvet suit and a frilly white shirt. And I am not joking. Rob says big shout out to Sol Bamba back in training.
Yeah, seeing that. Superb news. I stick a tweet out this morning, and it's just, do you know what? It's just great news for the football club and for the area, and just his family and him himself. You know, he's got a long way to go still. I know he's still got another treatment of chemo, I think. But a great opportunity his smile's infectious. You know what I mean? The way he handles himself on Sky Sports at the minute. You know what I mean? If that's the route he's going to go down, he's absolutely fantastic to have on the TV. You know what I mean? His smile, his enthusiasm, his knowledge of the game is brilliant. But I want him back on that pitch. I'll be honest.
Indeed, mate. Yeah, big time. You make a big difference to that dressing room at the moment. So the second question is, West Ham United said earlier this week that they will do anything to sign Jesse Lingard, including paying the rumoured 30 million fee which United want. However, following them saying that, today in the papers they said that United would want Declan Rice as part of any deal. Should they do that if Declan Rice wants to go?
Listen, I think a player like Jesse Lingard doesn't come across a football club very often. You know what I mean? The way that he plays with the ball, the way that he attacks, his charisma, his appeal on and off the pitch. But Man United holding all the cards, so Man United are in charge of the deal. You know what I mean? Because they have the player which they want. They're the biggest football club in the world. You know what I mean? So let's be honest. If they say they want Declan Rice as part of the deal, then West Ham have got a decision to make. Do they see Declan Rice as important as Jesse Lingard? For me, could West Ham fill in the gap for Declan Rice? Yes. Could they fill in the gap for Jesse Lingard? No, I don't believe they could. You know what I mean? I think they could. It could be good business for them because I think they could make a lot of money as well. Because Declan Rice's price value must be higher than Jesse Lingard's.
And that's about right. I think, like for me, like I saw some people saying Jesse Lingard could get a chance at United. I don't believe he will. I think it's time for him to move on regardless. Even if he scores another 10 goals in the last couple of games, I still believe for United, he needs to move on because it just wasn't working there.
Yeah, he's stale, he's stale now, and for every player, you have a time limit at a club, and for me, Jesse's time limit at Man United's gone, and you look how stale he was at United, and look how much
he looks refreshed. He
looks amazing, and if he continues his form to the summer, he's got to be on that. He's got to be in that group for the Euros, and if he does, then he's got to stay at West Ham because if at United he wouldn't have been in the Euro squad. So he's got to be honest with himself.
I don't think he's a £30 million player, man. But
neither do I.
But United have got him signed down to a long-term contract.
Yeah.
So, like, at the end of the day, if West Ham want him, they're going to have to pay either big bucks or, I think, Declan Rice.
Oh, you say that though, Si. Is he in the top 10 at the minute, attacking midfielders, scoring goals, creating chances?
Form, yeah. But
so
like,
they're paying form, aren't they? They're paying form valuation at the minute, which I don't believe in. But you know what I mean. He's got, like you say, he's got a long contract. I don't agree with the prices, especially, you know what I mean, post-COVID, there's going to be no money around, but, you know what I mean, Man United will be laughing their heads off now.
Well, yeah, Cavani's going to Boca Juniors, which Garrett rightly points out, which everyone knew that he was going to go there to finish his career, so I don't think that will have any impact on the Lingard deal, because I don't believe, Lingard's never going to play the number 9 position. United need a number 9, regardless.
Yeah.
So I don't think that has an impact on it. I would argue that could Declan Rice be a replacement long-term for Paul Pogba when you've also got the Dutch boy in there as well? I don't know. But for me, I could see, if Declan Rice goes to United and Jesse Lingard goes to West Ham, I think that's good business for both clubs and both players. But I would be interested to hear from West Ham fans. I think I saw Gaz in the chat earlier. I know he works nights sometimes, so he might not reply, but I'd be interested in their take on it. like how good has Lingard been? How much of an impact has he made? Has he made that much impact that West Ham would be willing to let Declan Rice go, who's been one of their, him and Antonio have been their main players, haven't they, for probably last 2 years? So.
I agree.
Interesting.
Yeah, I think it's great, isn't it? You know, what I mean, you've got a football club like West Ham who built this stadium and they've got this opportunity to go to the other level, but they need success. And could this be the success? What kicks them to that level? Are they going to get to the Champions League? Are they going to, because they get the Champions League, they're in London, they're playing in an unbelievable stadium. It could be the kickstart that West Ham United have needed for years.
Yeah, 100%. It's 100%, mate. So let's talk Championship, mate. On last week's Championship show, because it was Good Friday, we didn't really talk about the games because obviously they were there for this week, and also we hadn't had a chance to watch the highlights and get into it. It wasn't pretty viewing for Cardiff City fans, and I'm sorry, Cardiff fans. Sorry to myself. It's going to be brutal. I'm sorry to Donna and the Mick McCarthy brigade, but I'm going to make a point which I made, 4 or 5 weeks ago. I said that when everyone was like, oh, he's great, he's the answer, and give him a long-term contract, and I sort of said, look, he deserves credit, but you've got to wait till the end of the season because things will change. They did. They shouldn't have given him a long-term contract. They should have waited till the summer, and now they've, as in true Cardiff City fashion, completely stitched themselves up because the last 2 games have been pretty much disgraceful. But international break, mate, that's what killed Cardiff and a couple of other clubs as well.
Yeah, that hasn't done anybody any favours, I think. I didn't get it. Yeah, I didn't get the international break before a weekend of 2 games in over a bank holiday weekend. For me, wasn't good business for the players. It was too much football for some of them. Some teams dropped a horrific amount of points. Some teams came out with smelling roses, by the way. So we're going to talk about a couple. The first one in particular, Wickham Wanderers. But this is the thing, Si, about not having. You don't have many international footballers. You can work on things for the weeks. You can give your players rest. You can get them going. They play Blackburn Rovers Friday at home. Tough game. 1-1-0. Clean sheet. You play Rotherham down there. You win 3-0. They've had an unbelievable weekend of football, and they've given themselves the smallest of hopes to get themselves out of it. In the last 6 games. So good luck to Gareth. I think he's left it a little bit too late. But do you know what? It keeps his championship season. It keeps his championship season going, and credit to them, because you know what? Against Rotherham, they're absolutely fantastic and blew them away in the first half.
So I just want to address a couple of comments very quickly, mate, before we move on. Gaz says Deck will go anyway, so may as well get J-Lings. I can see the logic to that. Leslie says he missed England. Yeah, I said earlier in the week I was going to talk about England. Boro have got 2 England games. 2 England games?
2 friendlies, yeah.
That's good news for the city, isn't it?
Yeah, listen, it's unbelievable opportunity. We've got a good link with England. We've had games there in the past. Michael Owen scored there. We've had 21 games in the past, so we keep doing it.
Don't they get a lot of 21 games as well?
Yeah, we get. We've had women's games there. We've had big games for England. So I'm really pleased that they've managed to get these games back and get the interest back in the area, because without with the fans coming back as well, it'll generate a lot of enthusiasm for the town, for the area, for England, for everything, because I think it's a great idea, by the way, to take England around the grounds again.
100%. And I also just want to clarify, Donna and Gavin have both said it's not Mick McCarthy's fault. I wasn't saying it's Mick McCarthy's fault. What I was saying is Cardiff should have waited before giving him the long-term contract. That was the whole point of giving him a contract till the summer, so they could see where they stood in the summer. So to do it because you're on a 5-game win streak or 6-game win streak after he's come in and you've got that new manager feel was ridiculous, because that completely negated the point and fact of giving him a short-term contract to start with. And I mean, me and you discussed that in detail when he was given the job, wasn't it? It was ridiculous, and to give him the contract, and then like what happens now if Cardiff lose every game between now and the end of the season? They've got to, if they want to get rid of him, they've got to pay him off for a 2-year contract instead.
Yeah, it makes a mockery.
and
It
said
makes a
thanks
mockery
for
of the
no thanks.
of the way that they handled the whole situation. For me, they made the decision to give him the job. It was the best decision. But it's the contract issue, which I always had a problem with, the 6-month contract, and then give him a long-term contract because there was a couple of rumours that Celtic were interested in another team. Yeah, for me, there's it makes a mockery of the whole system for me, really.
Yeah, like GD Parry says there, he says United gave Ollie a contract when he was on a roll, and then he kind of stumbled. It's part and parcel of the game, I guess. But let's go through the clubs, mate. You mentioned Wickham Wanderers. We'll touch on them very quickly because I know you just mentioned their results, but they've given themselves a fighting chance, and there was a couple of players who really stood out for me. I can't pronounce his name, but the boy who scored the first goal in the Rotherham game, Musqui,
yeah.
I thought he was exceptionally impressive. Where's he on loan from? Because I was very impressed with him.
Leicester City, I think.
Yeah, I like it, mate. I thought he was very good. Thought his movement was good, his finishing was good, sharp, impressive, and they've just given themselves a squeak, mate, and that's what we love about the Championship.
But another
It's done.
Yeah, no, I totally agree. Another friend of the show, though, Joe Jacobson's free kick, his corner against Blackburn Rovers was just phenomenal.
Beautiful.
He puts the ball in so many dangerous areas and just gives the monsters of their team an opportunity to put the ball in the net, and they keep on doing it week in, week out. And if the worst case scenario does happen and Wickham do go down, I'm sure a few of those players have done themselves some huge favours about staying in that Championship, which obviously Wickham fans won't want to hear, by the way, but. I can't see past some of those players have had a great season, regardless of where they are in the league at the minute.
They need a Birmingham, a Coventry, a Huddersfield to really stumble, don't they? Because they're 9 points behind Birmingham.
It's a difficult one. I know we're going to talk about Birmingham soon, but Birmingham got probably one of the results of the week, of the season probably. So. It must be so disheartening for Wickham that they're going to get 6 points and they didn't really close the gap that they expected. You know what I mean? I know that's only 1 point, but that 1 point could keep Birmingham City promoted, for example. It's going to be that fine margins, and it brings other teams closer. Some teams have heavy defeats, which we're going to talk about. But but they're giving themselves a chance. Before the bank holiday weekend, they were probably relegated, but now they've given themselves a little bit of an opportunity. Nobody saw 6 points out of 6 coming, so they've got a chance.
100%. So next up is Sheffield Wednesday. Phenomenal week for them, really. I know they lost on the Friday to Watford 1-0. That's a difficult game anyway for anyone. But then on Monday, they decimated, destroyed, humiliated Cardiff City.
Yeah, obviously played against Watford. I watched the game, or I watched the first half. I thought they did okay, to be honest. I thought they were neat and tidy, without causing any problems. To give a silly own goal away, but I thought they were decent. They had some good attacking players. But what I saw on against Cardiff City on Monday night, I didn't expect to see. They started really well. Callum Patterson obviously was always going to score. It always seems like things are written in the stars. I thought Adam Reach was phenomenal. I thought he was excellent. Ex-Middlesbrough player. And I've seen a lot of
quiet season, hasn't he?
Yeah, he has. Yeah, but on the
Super turn up against Cardiff.
Yeah, on his day, he's a game changer. He's that good, but he's not consistent enough. Jordan Rhodes, we spoke about Jordan last season. Hasn't scored enough goals this season, but he gets on the goals. And listen,
He's got a couple of important ones recently, though, mate.
Yeah, he has. Yeah, but I've said 7 goals in 30. You know what I mean? It shows why that's why they are where they are in the division, I guess. But I said before the Swansea game that I would take a defeat against Swansea and Cardiff to pick up over the season and get in the playoffs. I would. Yeah. That, for me, it was just a game. It's just one game. The season's bigger than one game. But unfortunately, beating Swansea after that, sometimes you take the foot off the gas a little bit because you've done something which the pressure cooker was on, and for me now, it's going to be some ask for City to get in the playoffs from this position, and not because they're not good enough. The amount of teams who are better than them or more consistent than them ahead of them, and that's the way it is.
One thing I'd say about Sheffield Wednesday, mate, is if Jordan Rhodes, Adam Reach finish this season as well as they are capable of, Sheffield Wednesday can still stay up. And, they're only 2 points, ahead of Wickham. But
Yeah.
Adam Reach on his day is so special. And Jordan Rhodes is a proven championship scorer. Barry Bannon, all these players.
Oh, they've got a great squad.
Sheffield
Great squad on
Wednesday have
paper.
got this Callum Patterson. They've got incredible proven championship players. If they can somehow get those players all pulling in the same direction, but also producing quality like Adam Reach did, then I still believe they're good enough to stay up just because of the squad they've got and the players they've got.
Yeah.
But I say that. We're going to talk about Birmingham in a minute, but Coventry have been pretty consistent all season. Birmingham have had a good result. Rotherham next up though, mates.
But just to finish on Sheffield Wednesday's side,
Go on, sorry.
and probably the last point. The last time I'm going to talk about this season, unless they do stay up, is they should be on. They should be on. They should be on 29 points.
Yeah, and it's not fair to Wickham.
So
it's not fair to
no.
Rotherham.
If they were on 20, if they were on 29 points, they would be relegated nearly now because of the gap.
Do you know what else it would mean as well? It would mean that Wickham would be closer to being able to stay up. Rotherham would be closer. It would change everything, and
that changes the dynamics.
That's the problem that I've got with it. It's not just a case of affecting Sheffield Wednesday. It's affected the clubs around them. Rotherham United have had a nightmare Easter.
Shocking.
1-0 to Millwall and 3-0 to Wickham.
Obviously, the Millwall game was bad on a couple of counts. They had Richard Wood got sent off, and then they missed a penalty with 5 minutes to go from Matt Smith, and you can't afford to give up those kind of opportunities. And in a game like that, the position they're in, with the amount of games they've got left, I know Donis said there in the comments that they've got loads of games left, but games mean nothing unless you put the points on the board. And with the amount of games they've got, I think they've got 4 next week as well, which they're going to have to select games which they think they're going to win. The Wickham Wanderers game was disastrous from minute 1 all the way through to the end, and it was men against boys. Gareth got the tactics correct and spot on. They play Huddersfield at the weekend, and then Monday against Rotherham, Wednesday against Coventry, and then Birmingham at the weekend. So for me, the next 4 games are vital in their season. If they don't pick up, at least 6 points from their next 4 games, I can't see anything but relegation.
For me, mate, I look at those 3 teams in the relegation zone who we've just talked about, right? And I look at them on paper, and I know there's not necessarily a rhyme or reason to it, because Sheffield Wednesday have been dreadful all season, and Wickham Wanderers have struggled all season. But I just feel like though Wickham and Sheffield Wednesday are going to finish this season really, really strongly, and I feel like Rotherham might struggle. They got a small squad. They haven't got the proven championship players that the other 2 have perhaps got, and it's difficult for me to explain why, because obviously the 40 odd games that we've already watched tells us that Wickham and Sheffield Wednesday haven't been good enough all season. So why would they suddenly be good enough now? It's a strange one. Next up, though, mate, Birmingham City. You mentioned they had a good result.
Yeah, well, 2 good results. They played Swansea, beat them 1-0 with a last-minute penalty, which timing-wise is perfect. Obviously, Lee Boyer's gone in there.
Beautiful.
He started off doing really well, and then they got to Brentford, which, listen, you can look at the stats and see the amount of shots that possessions, shots that Brentford had, but Birmingham kept a clean sheet. Etheridge again, he was on fire. Some phenomenal saves, but 2 clean sheets in 2 games, 4 points out of 6 against 2 of the top 6. Doesn't get any better than that. It must be like winning the championship, because if they hadn't got any of those points, they would have been in severe trouble. So those 4 points are for me are the points which are going to keep Birmingham in the division, because I look at teams above them dropping like stones, giving goals away for fun. We've got the Coventrys and the Huddersfield that we're going to talk about just in a second. But for me, the acquisition of Lee Boyer was key to this whole situation, what Birmingham City are in, and sacking a manager and bringing somebody in who's got the passion, the desire, and obviously the quality is going to be huge for Birmingham City moving forward.
Who was it that said Lee Boyer was a good managerial choice? I forget.
He was on the show, He was someone on the show.
Forget. Just very quickly, because I'll forget to go back to it. Reece says, Andy, do you think the teams above Rotherham feel more pressure because of how close Rotherham are and with the club, with the games at hand?
I wouldn't say you feel more pressure, but you're always conscious and watching the games. You know what I mean? I know footballers say they don't watch games, but they lie, massively lie. You watch all their games and you watch the results come in, and you think, and straight after the game, you're ringing each other and you're saying, "Get in, they got beat, or they only drew, or they've let more goals in, or they're getting beaten." It's great because you know if they're losing on a weekend that you're not playing, or a midweek that you're not playing, there's another game churned over. You know what I mean? Because they can't catch you. You know what I mean? And it's coming thick and fast. There's 7 points difference, and they've got 4 games in hand. You know what I mean? Yes, the points they could get is massive, but the amount of games they're playing in a short space of time with the squad size they've got. You know what I mean? I think
that's the difference,
COVID's,
isn't it?
yeah,
Like,
COVID's hit them. COVID's hit them big time. And at the time, they probably didn't think it was going to have a negative effect, but now it's come back to probably bite them on the backside a little bit.
Yeah, I feel for like the teams like Rotherham, Coventry, Huddersfield. They got quite small squads, and I think that's where they're struggling now. They've the fatigue. It's just one of them. And next up is Coventry. They had a mixed week. They they lost comfortably to QPR 3-0, and then went and outplayed Bristol City in, for me, one of the performances of the weekend. Like, Coventry have been pretty consistent all season, and it'll be a shame if they do get dragged into the relegation and that side of it. Ostergaard was good again, and the lad who scored the third goal, which Gio cares or something like that.
Yeah, Drakers.
He's been very, very good all season.
Listen, I think it's great.
Ostergaard, mate, was superb.
Yeah, I think it's great for Coventry if they can keep churning over points at home, they'll be safe. With the games that they've got coming up, you've got a couple of tough away games coming up. Bournemouth at the weekend, but then they play Rotherham. And they've got Barnsley at home. You've got Preston at home. You've got Millwall at home. Their home games for me will keep them in the division. Yes. There's enough points on the board if they can win at home. For me, you've got to do enough points and get over that line. You know what I mean? There's a magic number, which Coventry City, Birmingham City, Huddersfield Town, Derby County, and Rotherham will all be aiming for. And the quicker they get to that point and that target, the better, because they all can't win the games because they're all playing each other. So that magic number and the games against each other side become even more important. So it's not about winning them for Birmingham, for Coventry, for Huddersfield. It's about not losing, because teams can't catch them if they're not losing the games. If they're going to turn it over point, it's fine. But the teams below them, the Rotherham have to win the games in hand. If they don't win the games in hand, they can't get out of it. It's impossible. But if you're not in the relegation now, after 46 games, then you can't get relegated. It's simple facts, So the teams out there just need to make sure they don't get dragged into it. And at the minute, they've got a decent gap. I know they've got loads of games in hand, but next week, by next Friday, we could be talking about Rotherham potentially being out of it, or we could be talking about Rotherham potentially having 4 defeats in 4 games.
Indeed, mate. Indeed, it's going to be fascinating viewing. I can't wait for our final day watch along. Next up, Huddersfield Town, mate.
What can I say about Huddersfield Town? Drew with Brentford on the I think it was the Sunday or something. They drew 1-1. I thought they were very good. They were 1-0 up at half time. I thought Brentford deserved the point, but Huddersfield, I saw enough in them in that game to think they've got an opportunity. But then you go to Norwich City and you go and get beat 7, then that is serious and really worrying. You know what I mean? 5-0 down at half time. Pookie just goes and bags another hat trick. You know what I mean? We're on about the best team in the league side. Who doesn't score as many goals and we've stated this all season. But you can't afford at this time of the season to get your confidence dented that much with a 7-0 defeat, because you know what I mean. It's about the games left. You know what I mean, and damage limitations, and they've got Rotherham at the weekend, so it's a 6-pointer straight away. You know what I mean? Because after that, they haven't got many games, in my opinion, which teams in and around them, they've got some good sides, and Huddersfield could be one of those teams who get dragged into it. And all we've spoke about this year, well, especially I have, is how much progress they've made from last season, because they haven't been in the bottom 3. But if they finish in the bottom 3, then it doesn't matter how the season's gone.
Yeah. I want to just quickly address this comment from GD Parry. He says, should Sheffield Wednesday have been relegated last year rather than wait until the start of the season to be hit with the points penalty? Andy, I'm going to answer this in tremendous detail. Yes, they should have. It was a disgrace. I can't talk about it anymore because it infuriates me. Look, Huddersfield against Norwich. I know Norwich have been superb. I know Pookie have been unbelievable. He's had such a good season. Really, really impressed. But for me, if you're losing 7-0, you've got to take a long, hard look at yourself. Because, what was it at half-time?
5.
4, 5?
5.
You shut up shop, mate.
Yeah.
And you make sure
Game
it doesn't
over.
get embarrassing.
Game
You're
over.
not going to get anything out of the game.
Game
You
over.
should-
Change the
and they
formation.
didn't. You make sure that it stays 5-0. Or, 5-1 if you pick up a set piece or something. What you don't do is what they did and leave big gaps and...
They're trying to win the game. They tried to win the game. That's it's madness. Madness. This, I mean, I think they, in their arrogance, they thought that they potentially thought that they weren't going to
Going to win 6-5.
Yeah, it doesn't. The Championship's not that kind of animal anymore. It's not against a good side like that. You've got to understand your permutations and look forward to the next game. At half time, you think, right, shut up shop. We'll focus for Rotherham, because the Rotherham ones now is a massive game, and you don't want to go into that with a 7-0 defeat.
Can't lose that, mate. Well, if they lose that, they are banging it, aren't they?
Yeah, massively. Yeah.
And they did such a good job last year of staying up after looking like they were dead and buried. I still look back to the decision to get rid of the Cowley brothers, mate.
Yeah, disappointing. And they've got themselves a job, by the way. They've got the Portsmouth job now, so they've got a good job.
Yeah, no, look, tremendous for them. Look, great, but I just look at it. It irked me at the time. Not because I've got any, I don't know the Cowley brothers. I got no problem with it. It's just I didn't understand it. They had done a tremendous job. They had kept, they had got them out of trouble when they just looked dead and buried, and they just cast them aside as if,
Yeah, no, I totally agree.
For nothing.
Yeah, I totally agree.
Not
It was
good look, mate.
Lack of respect.
Yeah. Next up is Derby County. Wayne Rooney's Army. How is he doing?
Mixed week. I probably think the results that they got were expected. Luton have had a good season, but I think Derby should be beating Luton Town at home. Lee Gregory scored the first, and Shinnie scored the second from a penalty. Wayne obviously got that result which was needed, but then they got to Reading. Reading haven't been on great form before obviously the international break, but they got a well-earned 3-1 victory. Difficult side with small squad. You just spoke about that earlier on when you've got 2 games in 3 or 4 days, and you know what I mean. For players to go and pick 6 points up, you either need a bit of luck or you need a bit of rotation or you need something to happen. But once you pick those 3 points up, sometimes you can relax a little bit too much and you go into the game and it doesn't matter if you lose because you've already picked 3 points up that week, and that's what it seemed like for me for the Derby County players. But yeah, Wayne's he's still in a predicament. He's still a possibility of going down. They're not safe, so he needs a few more results to play Norwich tomorrow.
They seem like they play for him.
Really excited for it.
One thing I would say.
Yeah, and you know what? That's credit to the man himself. He always wore his heart in his sleeve and always played for his manager. So I fully expect that. But they've got some difficult games towards the end of the season. So I do hope for him he gets out of it, because I think he could be a good, young, fresh, hungry manager, and I hope to see how that escalates in the future.
Same. There's a little conversation going on between Rob Boyle and Rhys David Evans. Rhys David Evans said Campbell of Norwich is absolute quality. He makes things tick.
One of my favourite players,
etc. is superb. And then Rob Boyle said, it may be controversial, but I think he's better than Jack Grealish. Are you having that, mate?
Difficult. Campbell's excellent. He's been superb all season. He's ran the Championship for me for 2 seasons. Did he do enough last season for me to think that he could do it regularly in the Premier League? I've got to say no, because he didn't win enough games. I look at Jack previously to this season, and probably last season. Did Jack get Aston Villa enough points? Not for me. Has he this season and towards last season? Yes, he's got some better performance, some consistency. He's set more goals up. He's had more of a part to play in games. I can't wait to see Campbell in the Premier League next season. I think he'll become a different animal. He's got more confidence. He's got unlimited ability. But if Norwich don't stay up again next year, for me, he's got to move on and try and progress his own career in the Premier League and stabilise himself as a Premier League footballer. You know what I mean? Because being a yo-yo team like Norwich have been up and down, up and down, up and down is great for business, because you're always picking that Premier League money up. But it's, as a player, Pookie, for example, wants to be in the Premier League because he's an international footballer. Campbell probably has got aspirations to play for his country. You know what I mean? So I think sometimes players will become a little bit selfish, and rightly so, by the way.
Yeah. Blackburn Rovers, mate.
I'm starting to fear for my old hero, Tony Mowbray. 2 defeats, Wickham, and then Bournemouth, which is probably expected. I know Bournemouth played very well on the day, and we're going to talk about them, but they're not scoring enough goals. Armstrong missed a penalty. I've said all alongside, when Blackburn don't score, there's too much pressure on Armstrong for me, and they haven't had enough goals shared around the whole team, and probably the creativity and things haven't worked out. But do I think they're safe with being on 46, 11 points ahead? Yeah, but they probably need one more win to keep them up, or 50 points. I think 4 more points will definitely keep them up. I don't think the bottom 3 will get over 50 to put them down. So I think definitely one more win will definitely keep them safe, if not another point.
Yep. Yeah, I could go along with that. 2 defeats for Blackburn. They lost to Wickham and to Bournemouth, like you say. And I got to talk about your mentor, your hero, Tony Mowbray, a bit later on, unfortunately. Preston North End, mate.
A good week. Drew against Norwich City, which is a fabulous result. They got a last-minute equaliser, which is fortunate. Norwich tried to defend, couldn't hold out. 94th minute, and then they got to Swansea. Great game plan, and got themselves a 1-0 win. And so it could have been a fabulous week if they'd have just turned over. But playing 2 of the top 3, you know what I mean, and turning over a performance like that. You look at obviously 4 points, they're on 48. That would have kept them in and around the relegation. I think those 4 points have just kept them safe, and they've massively underachieved after what they did last season. They've got a better squad than last year, for me, going forward as well. So I think they'll be a little bit disappointed, but I think the manager will be pleased for me that they've got enough points to stay up now.
Yeah, 100%, mate. Preston North End. Sorry, no, ignore me. Yeah, is it Preston?
Nottingham. No, we just talked about them.
Forest.
Nottingham
Yeah,
Forest.
sorry, mate.
Forest have had a great week.
Really coming together, haven't they?
Yeah, started against Cardiff City, clean sheet. I thought the defence against Cardiff was superb. I thought they were marshalled really well. Going forward, they've got a little bit of everything. You know, Amiobi on one side, I thought was very good, creating chances. Grabban played up front in that game. I thought Cafu was very good, playing just in behind. I thought McKenna and Worrell, 2 centre halves, were brilliant. I thought Samba in goal was strong. He hasn't got a reputation for making a mistake, but I thought he was very good. The second game, the big QPR 3-1 at home, more of a dominant display. Joe Garner, I thought, was excellent for long periods in centre midfield. Lewis Grabban again running the line, which is fantastic. You look at the subs, you've still got Glenn Murray's, you've still got your Lyle Taylors. So they're inundated with talent, yeah. But the way that they only play with one of them, which is the manager's decision. But yeah, difficult one.
Yeah,
great week, though.
Weird one,
Great
mate,
week,
isn't it?
great week.
And friend of the show, Boatsy, will be very happy with the way they've picked up in recent weeks. We said at the start of the season, with the squad they had, should have been up there. Unfortunately, they had the hangover from missing out on last day, and it's taken them a while. But I think I'd expect them to finish the season strong. Next up was Bristol City. Terrible week again. And they haven't had, really, that new manager lift that teams like Cardiff have had, haven't they? Wiggy, I did get your picture, by the way. Sorry.
Normally you get a reaction from the players. They haven't really had that. They've lost the last 3 now, Si. You know what I mean? They got beat on early Friday by Stoke City 2-0 at home. Not a great display. And then they go to Coventry City, which they've got to be at. If you're a Bristol City player and a manager, you're expecting to go to Coventry and getting a positive result. You know, especially where the Coventry are playing and how unstable they are probably defensively, but. They just didn't turn up again, and Nigel Pearson's got a big job on his hands. You know what I mean? He made a lot of substitutions on the Monday game, a few at half time. He wasn't obviously happy with the first half display. He's got a huge rebuild on there at Bristol City.
Yeah, it's a big job, but he won't get the time, mate. Is my issue with the way they go about their stuff. Bristol, they go through managers like Easter eggs at Easter. It's like. It's a project which they need to be rebuilt, and it takes time to do that. And because he's losing so many games, he's not going to get that time.
No.
If they keep on the form they've had of the last month or so to the end of the season, he's going to be gone in the summer.
Yeah, totally.
They're not going to keep him on.
Yeah, totally agree. It's going to be a difficult one.
Luton Town.
yeah, on that as well. Reading are getting beat 2-0 by Watford now. So
Wow, there we go.
tough one. Luton have had a bad week, but they've had a great season size. So you're going to have blips around. You know what I mean? If you've got a small squad and you're running against, you play Derby County away, you play Barnsley at home. I thought Barnsley were excellent. By the way, I watched the extended highlights and they attacking numbers, and Luton couldn't handle what they had. So. For me, they'll dust themselves down. They'll go again. They're going to be in the Championship next year, which is a fantastic achievement by the management, the club, and the players. But they've had a tough week and a difficult week. But you said earlier on, Saib, small squads. Luton have got a small squad, inexperience at this level, so it's going to happen to clubs like that, unfortunately.
Indeed, mate. QPR mixed week, 3-0 Coventry win, 3-1 loss to Forest.
Yeah, well, just QPR all over, isn't it? Let's win and lose, or win and draw, or draw and win. You know what I mean? I don't think it's fun being a QPR fan because you don't know which QPR side is going to turn up. But listen, they're going to be in the Championship next year, which is great news. They win games comfortably when they do. I'm a big fan of Che. I think he's fantastic. I think he's scored the third goal. He makes things happen. You know, I mean, QPR are renowned for being a selling club. Will they be able to keep hold of him? I hope for their sake they do, because they can't keep on churning over these kind of players. You know what I mean? They lost Eze last year. They'll lose Chair this year. You know what I mean? It's a big ask to find that hidden gem.
Yes, indeed, mate. Talking to teams who you don't know which version is going to turn up. Stoke City had another mixed week. Beat Bristol 2-1 comfortably, then lost to Millwall.
Yeah, but you go away to Bristol City, which is a tough game, and you get a positive result. You come at a home game, you expect a reaction. You expect them, you know what I mean, especially going 1-0 behind. Wallace scored, and then Brown equalised. You expect them to go on to win the game, Si, and it just didn't happen. Didn't materialise. And you look at the talent what they've got. Matondo came on, McLean came on, Sam Vokes came on, Sam Klukas came on. They're 4 players who are Premier League players. So how are they underachieving? I just don't understand it. You know, it must be so frustrating for Michael O'Neill that he can't get the tune out of them what he wants, because every game that goes by, you know what I mean, the gap now to Reading, 11 points? Got 6 games to go. It's too much of a gap, and there's too many sides ahead of them who are going to clean. So it's such a shame because of a huge football club.
That squad is going to miss out on the playoffs.
Yeah.
It's incredible. You got to look at the people running the club. Unfortunately, it's just is what it is, isn't it? So next up is the mighty Middlesbrough, my friend.
Yeah, not a great week. Played Bournemouth, tough game. Jonathan Woodgate against the Soul side. I thought Bournemouth deserved to get the win. They were 2-0 up, and then Middlesbrough brought one back just after second half through Watmore, and then Watford game. Middlesbrough equalised later on. Listen, Middlesbrough had a fantastic season. They're 10th in the league. If they finish 10th, 11th, 12th, it's progress from the season. Middlesbrough fans probably won't like me saying this, but I've said all along, it's about making progress. Don't be disappointed that you haven't made the playoffs. Next season, be disappointed. You know what I mean? Put the pressure on the players next season, because this season, it's about stability. It's about a manager putting a philosophy in place and players buying into it and starting again next season. With what they've done this season, what they did last season. For me, they're in a fabulous position for next season with the experience what they've got, with the players that they've got, another year older, another year wiser, and let's see what happens. But don't be disappointed. Don't be thinking it's a negative end. You know what I mean? We've got 6 games to go. Let's see how many points we can get. But for me, the playoffs are too big of a push.
Yeah, and just enjoy the ride now, innit? Mate, you're safe. After last season, the stress of not knowing if you're going to stay up, you know, right down towards the end of the season, to then now you can just go into the last few games, enjoy it. If things go really well, you might sneak in the playoffs. If you don't, you don't. I think that's a phenomenal position to be in compared to where Boro were last year.
Oh, listen, they could have
building on that, isn't it?
They could have been in League One last year, say, with a negative result last game of the season. So you've got to see the positives. The positives that outweigh the negative for me, 100%.
Yeah, we talked about Forest, mate, picking up. Another team who's really picked up recently is Millwall, after a very ropey season, really.
Yeah, and listen, they've had 2 tough games because on paper, you know what I mean, they're playing Rotherham, and Rotherham were unpredictable. They got lucky with Rotherham missing a penalty, but you beat them. You go away from home at Stoke. You probably don't think you're going to pick anything up. You get the victory what you need, and then you're looking forward now to the last 6 games. You know what I mean? You're playing Swansea tomorrow. Swansea have lost the last 2. You're playing Brentford, they're not in form. You're playing Bournemouth, who are going to be in and around you. If you can, for me, if you want to get promoted, you want to get in the playoffs. Those 3 games will put you in the playoffs, so they'll be in a better position. But they're going to have to do it the hard way, because in the last 6 games they play Swansea, Brentford, Bournemouth, Watford, Bristol City, and Coventry. So you know what I mean, it's going to be tough, but.
Brutal.
They've had a great season, and they're giving themselves a chance to progress and get in the playoffs. So good luck to them.
Yeah. Next up is Cardiff City, mate.
Disastrous. Disastrous. It wasn't great against Nottingham Forest. I thought they lacked ideas. I thought the international break killed Cardiff City. Obviously, Kiefer Moore being away, international duty, didn't look sharp. Didn't look like he was his normal self. Bakuna, same thing, being on away in international duty, didn't look like he was his normal self. Even someone like Vaux in the midfield that didn't look like his normal self, even though he hadn't been away, but he's had the heartache of not being picked for his country. So sometimes that can also have a negative effect.
Yes.
Obviously, Morrison didn't play. He obviously picked an injury up, so wasn't able to play. Obviously, with other injury problems, things just haven't.
Difference.
It does. It makes a huge difference. It's a talker in the changing room on the pitch, a leader on and off the field, and then you're going into a game at Sheffield Wednesday. They're hungry for points they need to beat you. You go off to a start after 4 minutes. It goes from bad to worse. They were all over the place, defensively all over the place, set pieces all over the place. The game plan just went out the window, and it's going to be a big ask to get many points on the board the rest of the season. With the games they've got left side, you know what I mean. It's not about Reading losing tonight and thinking that we're going to get in the playoffs. You know what I mean. Blackburn Rovers tomorrow, they should win, but Blackburn can turn anybody over. They've got a squad to do so. Reading away, Cardiff haven't got a very good track record at Reading. You know what I mean. They've got a really bad record. Brentford away. Really tough place to go. Wickham Wanderers could be fighting for their lives by the time Cardiff play them. Birmingham City fighting for their lives, and then Rotherham fighting for their lives. So they couldn't have picked for me a worse 6 games. They're a disaster. It's a disastrous running. You know what I mean? People might think it on paper it's winnable. Of course it is, but you've got to be realistic. If Birmingham need to get a point, or Wickham need to get 3 points or 1 point, and Rotherham last game of the season they need a win or they need a point, it could be a disaster.
They're not the teams you want to be playing, are they?
No.
Donna says she hopes Cardiff is still going to try and win every game and not experiment with youngsters like some fans want. She said, I still want us to play out our strongest team. I think, I don't know, I'm kind of in between with that. I think whilst the playoffs are still mathematically possible, you have to keep playing the strongest team to win the games. Yeah. Once the playoffs become not happening, like definitely mathematically impossible, then I say bring the kids in and get them as much time as possible.
He needs to plan. He needs to plan for next season, Si. So if he's got a player who he's not going to play next season, then
or
don't
even
play
a player
him.
he's not sure of, mate, as well.
Yeah.
Like he needs to have a look at them in a full game situation.
Yeah, I totally agree.
You've got to do it, haven't you?
I totally agree.
It's a tricky one, mate. It's a tricky one. Bournemouth, mate. Cracking week for them.
Absolutely fantastic week, and Jonathan Woodgate's given himself an opportunity to get them in the playoffs. Obviously, the result tonight is going to help them moving forward. They beat Middlesbrough 3-1. They beat Blackburn Rovers away 2-0. It's the way they're playing, the way they're attacking football is excellent, it's phenomenal. They've got some winnable fixtures over the next couple for me, which they're probably expecting to win. Coventry City and then Huddersfield Town, so it's a big week, especially with the result tonight. They've got 2 games in hand and they're 1 point behind. So Reading have been in the top 6 all season. I don't think they've been out of it all season. Please, somebody tell me if I'm wrong there, but I think they've been top all season, and then they've got in the playoffs and they haven't gone out the top 6. And tomorrow could be the first time they'll be out of it. And will they ever get back in? It'll be the question.
Psychologically, that's going to be difficult, isn't it, for Reading? Because Bournemouth, but sticking with Bournemouth, I think they've been outstanding, really good.
Fabulous.
There's a couple of players, Billing, Groenveld, Philip Billing particularly, I've been so impressed with this year, but I just thought over, I think it was the second game, the Blackburn game, thought he was superb. And he was on my short list for best player, 2 up, 2 down, which we're going to do in a minute.
And Dan Juma as well. Dan Juma's he's coming to his own. He's scoring goals. He's looking sharp. It's you're saying that side. They've got experience throughout the team. Begovic saving penalties. David Brooks, Welsh international. Cook, strong centre half. Dan Juma, international. Lemmer, international player. Solanke, ex Liverpool. That's not including the substitutes that you've got. Your Jack Wilsheres, your Sturridges, your Raquelmes. your Chris Mephams. They've got an unbelievable squad of players. So
yeah. I just wanted to clarify something quickly with Gavin. The reason for that is Sean Morrison is better than Virgil van Dijk. I needed to just quickly clarify that.
of course he is.
And next up is Reading, mate. Another pretty good week up until tonight.
Yeah.
Obviously.
Yeah, listen, you know what I mean. They go to Barnsley away from home, draw 1-1. It's a difficult place to go. Barnsley are probably the most informed side in the Championship. So,
I want them to go up so much.
And then to beat Derby. So they've had a really strong week. But obviously today's another different weekend of football, and they're coming across probably the informed side along with Norwich. So it was always going to be a difficult one. They just needed to probably stay in the game. The next goal in this game is vital for Reading. Yeah. They need to get it, but the main objective is to get in the playoffs
as well, mind.
Yeah, they've got players to win football matches, but their objective now is to stay in the playoffs and get in the playoffs, and they've got 5 games to do it. 5 wins or 4 wins will do it, but it's going to be a big ask. But it's so intriguing. It's the best league in the world.
It's unbelievable, mate. Barnsley marched on with another 4 points. They've just been a revelation this season.
Joy to watch.
We said for the last season how much we enjoyed watching them, but this year they've taken that on a step where you enjoy watching them play, but they're winning football matches. They're picking up points against big teams. They're in the playoffs and they deserve to be there. And you didn't think you were going to be talking about them being 4th or 5th in the Championship at the start of the season. But they deserve it, mate.
Yeah,
they
4
deserve
points
to be there.
4 points, a draw against Reading after being 1-0 behind, a win away against Luton. I thought they were excellent. The way they attack. Ismail, the manager, if he doesn't get manager of the year, if they get in the playoffs, you know what I mean? Forget about getting promoted with Premier League budgets. You're on about a team here who should have got relegated last year if it wasn't for a last-minute goal at Brentford, I think, on the last day. I mean, they were a shoo-in for relegation, and somehow they stayed up, and now they've given themselves an opportunity. They could be in the Premier League next season with three positive results in the playoffs. If they get there, they could be in the Premier League. It's absolutely crazy. It's madness, but it's just the joy of football. I love it.
It is incredible, mate. It's so exciting, and I just really enjoy. I have to fight hard to not put Barnsley players in my 2-ups all the time. It just is what it is, mate. What else we got? Okay, let's keep moving. And Swansea City, mate.
Bad week, bad month.
Bad week. Cardiff triggered the end of the Swansea season.
Yeah, listen, they're on a 4-game losing spell. 2 1-0 defeats. Obviously a late winner against Birmingham City from a penalty, and then a late winner again, Grimes' own goal. So is it a concentration thing? Is it a lack of belief thing? Is it that they've just been shot a little bit with confidence and they're just expecting to lose a football match? But it hasn't done him any good, because those 6 points would have kept them on the coattails of Watford and Norwich. But now it just, for me, the top 2 now have ran away with it because of those negative results by Swansea, and I know we're going to talk about Brentford in a second, and their negative results, because it's regardless how well the top 2 are playing, other teams are making their job a little bit easier than it needs to be.
Yeah, and I mean, Gaza said that, would you bet on Barnsley to go up in the playoffs? If they make the playoffs, I think I'd like to see them. I'd like to see them, yeah. And if and the way that if let's say they're in the playoffs now, the way they play Swansea over 2 legs, and that'd be a good game, really good game. I wouldn't like to play them. I'll be honest, I wouldn't like to play them. So yeah, Brentford next, mate.
We just spoke about there. You know, it's so frustrating being a Brentford fan. I watched the Huddersfield game and I thought they were excellent going forward. They gave a silly goal away by a mistake by defence, goalkeeper, midfield. They're passing to each other, overplaying an open goal, and they're always up against it. And 2 draws at this stage of the season in a weekend, it's not good enough for someone like Brentford, especially with the way that the other 2 are playing and winning games and running away with you a little bit. They need. There's 4 draws on the belt. You know what I mean? It doesn't matter if they win the next 6. If they win the next 6 games, I don't think it'll be enough to get in the top 2. And Brentford's position last year and losing the playoff final, will that still mentally hurt the manager, the players, and the club? Will they have another hangover again come the summer? Because I don't know how many chances a club has to get promoted, because this could be the last chance saloon for some of those players, because they could move, the manager could move to bigger and better things, because he's done a really good job. And and it'll be a hard one to take for the football club if they don't go up this year.
Yeah, it's so fascinating to watch them, mate, because
Yeah.
are they bottling it? Is it just the Championship is that hard? It's difficult to see, but that's not good enough. Like you said, spot on with your words there, mate. Watford next up.
Beat Sheffield Wednesday at home on the early Sky game on the Friday. I watched the Middlesbrough game on the Monday. I thought they were excellent. I thought they were really good. I thought that everyone's complaining about the Watford goal. He might have hit his hand, but it deflected in. He was onside. Middlesbrough got a late goal by Balassi off a set piece, but I thought Watford, the way the attacking numbers, the way they create chances, the way they did certain things in the play. I thought Chalobah in midfield just dominates games. He does things just really really simple and just dominates those kind of positions. And with the result tonight, I think those 2 points against Middlesbrough would have put them within a chance of getting the Championship. But I think with Middlesbrough hitting those 2 points, I think it's a big ask for them to catch Norwich, in my opinion.
Yeah, just the form that Norwich are in as well. I know mathematically they can probably still do it, but Norwich just marching on really have been impressive. Let's move on to Norwich. We mentioned Cantwell earlier in the show. Pukki, superb. So, I think it was Donna, but it might not have been, so I apologise. Someone asked earlier in the show, can Norwich hold on to Pukki and to Cantwell next season?
Well, the only way
if they go down, I think they'll definitely go. But can they hold on to him in the summer?
The only way they'll hold on to them is if they get promoted. I don't believe they'll leave if they get promoted, because their
Even
price
if
value.
a top six club comes in, offering European football.
Yes, it's valuation as well. They're going to have to pay top dollar because the Premier League footballers again. You know what I mean? International footballers, one of them.
Yeah, I guess you'd have to see what their contract situations are as well.
Yeah, I look at other players. I look at Buendia as well. I think he's having a great season.
Yes, yeah,
things could have been a lot better, by the way, because obviously Preston equalised in the 94th minute on Friday, so that could have been another 2 points closer, which is obviously disappointing. But it's a 7-0 one for me. The 7-0 win cements how good they are. They were like a wounded animal after the Preston game, and they put a marker down and thoroughly deserve for me to be back in this Premier League.
Yes. If you've got any questions, guys, get them in now, because we're going to do 2 ups, 2 downs, and then we're going to be out here. Craig Sullivan says, do you think Swansea will miss the playoffs with Cardiff? Do you think he thinks Bournemouth will sneak in with either Swansea or Reading missing out?
I think Swansea will get in the playoffs. I think Swansea will definitely be in the playoffs.
Let's do our playoff. Who's going to make the playoffs, because they always changes, doesn't it, as you're going along?
Yeah.
Who's your 4 at the moment?
Well, obviously, Norwich for me are going to win the league. Watford will finish second. My playoff 4 are going to be Brentford finish third. I'm going to go Swansea, Barnsley, and Bournemouth.
I'm going to go Brentford finish third, Barnsley finish 4th, Reading finish 5th, and the mighty Millwall will pinch the final spot.
I knew that was coming.
No, I think Millwall might pinch the final spot, and I think Cardiff, Swansea, and Bournemouth will all miss out.
The only thing with that is they're 11 points behind Swansea, and they've only got 6 games to play.
Yeah, and obviously it's a bit tongue-in-cheek with Swansea. I think Swansea probably hold on to it, and Reading will be the ones that drop out. But I do think Barnsley will finish 4th at the least. I'd love to see Barnsley finish 3rd and just really put a statement out. But I got a feeling Swansea just look like they're going to miss out, mate. Is my point. Bournemouth, they look the form team along with Barnsley. Bournemouth-Barnsley final at the moment would be my guess. Okay, 2 ups, 2 downs for the week. Let's go with the negative first. Do you want to go first or second, mate?
I'll go first. I'm going to start with Rotherham United's performance against Wickham. I just thought it was
beautiful,
so bad in base of timing. You know, I mean, they can't afford to drop those kind of points against teams in and around them, and the way that they started sloppy. You know, what I mean, these kind of performances, you need to be on the front foot. You need to try to win the games. If you try to win the games and you lose, I've got no problem. But it was like they went into it a little bit tentative and were hoping not to lose, and you can't afford to do that at this time of the year.
Yeah, 100%, mate. My first down is Huddersfield's second half performance versus Norwich. Absolute shambles. To be 5-0 down and go and play like you think you're going to win 6-5 is embarrassing. And you know, it ended up being 7-0. And it is my opinion, when you're playing top level sport, you should avoid humiliation at all costs. 5-0 is a bad result. 7-0 is humiliation, mate. And so I think it was Southampton that have done it a couple of times recently, where they've lost 9-0 twice in the last year or so, and both games till about the 70th minute they've played as if they're gonna win, and it's like, come on, you're 7-0 down now. Let's try and shut up shop. There's got to be a point, mate. There's got to be a point where you, I don't know. It was 3-0 Watford. That's game over, and Reading and bit of bother if Bournemouth go and win tomorrow. Who's your second down, mate?
I've gone for Stoke City's inconsistencies. Winning one week, losing the next with the size of the squad, and I named the 4 players that came on the other day. You know what I mean? That Premier League footballers, so underachieving is not the word. I would even say it's just not good enough. Michael O'Neill must be scratching his head and understanding what's going on. But yeah, they need a huge rebuild in that football club, and the fundamentals, the foundations, just need to be right before they can push on to where the fans expect them to be.
Yes, indeed. My down is Tony Mowbray. Sadly, for me, I don't like to say managers need to lose their job and stuff. I never want to see that, but for me, he does need to leave Blackburn Rovers at the end of the season. The players that they've got in that squad should be challenging for playoffs, not slipping towards relegation, which they most definitely are. And the buck stops with the manager. I thought they've been really, really poor lately. And I just, unfortunately, I know you've got a tremendous amount of respect for the man. Yeah. But the job is not going his way at the moment.
That's a result business,
Yeah. And he's been given time, I think, is the other thing. It's not a knee-jerk thing. He has been given time to bring in the players he wants, and he's brought in some great players. They've got a great squad, just not good enough at the moment. Let's go to your ups. And let us know in the comments. I know I saw a few people saying they're downs. Let us know your ups. Let's finish on a positive. Andy, what's your first up?
My first up, I've gone for a triple from Norwich City. I've gone for Buendia, Cantwell and Pookie. You know, I mean, your front three is just when it works, and it's working. It's working. So if it's not broke, don't fix it. And there's no better front three in the Championship for a long, long time. And I look at some of the other attacking players who've gone to the Premier League, like the Pereiras from West Bromwich Albion, and are ripping it up this year. That tore Chelsea to shreds at the weekend, and these kind of players can do it again next year, I believe, in the Premier League. So yeah, for me, I've gone for those three for my first up.
Good man. I've gone for Adam Reach. He turned up against against Cardiff for Sheffield Wednesday and reminded us why he's so highly rated, why he's such a good footballer, why he's had such a tremendous career, and he's a special player. And if Sheffield Wednesday have got any chance of staying up, they need him to play like that for the rest of the season. But he was very good.
Great show. I've gone for Maxime Collin. I've gone for Mark Roberts, Harley Dean, and Nathan Etheridge from Birmingham City. I thought the three of them against Brentford were phenomenal. To keep a clean sheet against the best attacking talent, you know what I mean, pace, trickery, Ivan Toney, you know what I mean, to keep him quiet all game. And Mbeumo, Canos, you know what I mean, they've all three of them have scored goals for fun. You know, we're talking about trios, you know what I mean, that one of those players in 90 minutes has to do something. You know what I mean? You fully expect it, but for me, they got the tactics spot on. Lee Boyer did great, so it was a fantastic result and performance.
It was superb. Wiggy says, my down, I would say Cardiff, the way they're playing at the moment, they don't look like they want to attack, and happy to just keep it on the edge of the box and get counter-attacked every time. Donna says here, up is Swansea losing. Leslie's got a question about Stuart Downing, which I'll get to in a minute. Any more ups? I thought I saw another one. I can't see it. Okay, and my up is Leo Ostergaard. Absolutely superb. Engineered a 3-1 victory over Bristol City. And again, players like that you need at the end of the season to really perform.
You need your big players performing.
I thought he was superb, mate. I really thought. I was so impressed with his. He's caught my eye a couple of times this season, but in the Bristol game, I saw the extended highlights particularly, and I just, wow, Just thought he was exceptional, mate.
Great show. Love it.
When you're playing for a lower team like Coventry as well, those players, they do stand out, but you've got to really play well to stand out. Do you know what I mean? Does that make sense?
Yeah. I totally agree.
It's difficult,
totally
isn't it?
Totally agree.
I'm going to get to these questions very quickly because I've actually got to finish. I'm going to go join Cade and drink some ciders. No. Yeah, it is what it is. I thought there was ups, there was downs, as usual, lots of stuff. Leslie wants to know, do you think Stuart Down will retire at the end of the season?
I think if he gets offered another contract that he wants to play as long as he possibly can. So he's a footballer who's good at what he does. So I hope he carries on until he hasn't played a lot of football this year. So I do believe he's probably got another year in him. But it's just having that enthusiasm to do it and get up and keep doing it every day.
Indeed, mate. Indeed. Also, Leslie says, quick question for Andy before you finish. Will John Stones keep Haaland out this week in the Champions League?
Is it this week, is it? Well,
I'm not sure it's this week. Or
yeah,
a week tonight, is it?
All I can go on is his current form, and John Stones was absolutely phenomenal. So as long as Man City win the tie, I don't care really.
Yeah, that's it, mate. It's all interesting. Okay, guys, thank you for joining us. Appreciate all the questions and everything, and a few lovely comments as always. I really do appreciate the support. It's been phenomenal. Another new episode of My Story on Sunday, 8 o'clock, and this time it's with ex-Wales international, former Swansea and Cardiff midfielder David Giles. What a career, what a man. Really enjoyed filming that show with him. So good, and really looking forward to that. That's out on Sunday for you guys. Also, we've had all sorts of shows, including Super Kevin scripted yesterday. If you want to enter the competition to win some of Kev's artwork, and he's working on some special ones at the moment, you'll have to send a photograph before next Thursday, the deadline, Thursday morning, and it's just going to be the worst dressed picture of yourself you can find, and whoever Kev selects as the worst dressed wins the giveaway. Until then, bid you farewell. Have a fantastic weekend to everyone. If you're watching WrestleMania, enjoy it. Best of luck to Jack Shaw in the UFC tomorrow, Welshman. And until then, we will see you. Andy, as always, it's my pleasure.
Yeah, look forward to Monday. I'll see everybody Monday.
Oh, indeed. Monday night, 7:30. It's going to be a good one, mate. Nicky Southall. Absolute beauty of a show.
He's a funny guy. Funny guy. Please tune in. He's got some unbelievable stories to tell. He's a very, very funny guy. Please tune in.
It's going to be good. Join us. See you soon. Thanks for joining us. Have a good one.
My mummy and daddy have been talking about life insurance. It sounds like something to protect my brother and me, but I don't really understand. Then my auntie Louise told mummy about Bespoke Financial Teesside. She said they're a local company who helped her with her life insurance. Mummy got in touch, and because they're based locally, a man called Darren was able to come to our house. He was really friendly. Darren stayed for a cup of tea and made it all really easy to understand. He said that life insurance will protect our home and family if anything bad were to happen. Like if mummy or daddy got sick, then we'd get enough money to take care of us, and our house would be paid for so it wouldn't get taken away. After an hour, Darren said goodbye and mummy and daddy seemed a lot happier. Once it was all sorted, we could all relax and watch a film together as a family. I don't know why they didn't do it sooner.
I belong to you.
I belong to you.
Do just what you want.